All right. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to the world. I'm Abdul Khan, and I'm right now in Pakistan, where we have got its time is 10 p.m. So I welcome all of you, along with my amazing guests, to this Act Global. What is ACT? ACT is a cup of tea. And unfortunately, to our guests with this webinar, we cannot offer you that cup of tea. But the beauty of this webinar is that you can have your own leisure, your own Turkish tea or kahwa or coffee or just water at your own pace, at your own pace. And we used to have this kind of monthly reunion of alumni of Youth Impact. Now, Youth Impact works across in Pakistan with the young people. We focus on the social leadership skills development. And we had alumni chapters in 11 different cities of Pakistan. And every month we used to meet and we used to learn from each other. Now, thanks to COVID-19, that we couldn't held the physical sessions, and we got this opportunity or idea that instead of just having Pakistani young people at this platform, now since we are on internet, we can invite young people from across the globe, and that's an opportunity where today we are again going to interact with two young people who are going to share their part of the story, which unfortunately a lot of the mainstream media does not tell us. And this story is the life in Palestine. We call it Palestine in Pakistan. So for our English audience, it's Palestine, right? So I'm very happy and I'm very excited rather to welcome my two guests today, the young people who represent their countries, who represent their cultures. So in the middle, I've got Ahmed. Ahmed, welcome, Ahmed. Ahmed giving his brief introduction about who is he, and what does he do, and we'll be listening very soon to him. And then on my extreme right, I've got Irada. Irada is again a young lady from Gaza, from Palestine. So thank you very much, Irada, for taking out this time. And just one more thing for our audience who are watching this live webinar. You see that there's the screen at Irada's side is a bit dark. I asked her that why it's dark. She said because the lights is off. We don't have electricity right now. And this is such a shame. In 21st century, we have got people in the world who are oppressed with the basic necessities, where basic need like electricity, it's taken off, and then you go through these dark shades of your life. So we'll be listening more to this from Irada. But first of all, I would like to invite Ahmed to give a brief introduction about himself. Yes, Ahmed.
Hello to everyone. It's Ahmet Zengin. I'm Turkish. I've been living in Turkey and studied political science in Marmara University in Istanbul. Hold my BA in Istanbul, and then I am currently doing my master degree in Tel Aviv University in Security and Diplomacy Studies. And also, I am working in the Institute for National Security Studies in Tel Aviv, based in Tel Aviv. That's pretty much it. And thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Ahmed, for being very brief, and definitely would be keen to explore more about your journey as a Turkish young man going to Tel Aviv to study security studies. So, what had been your inspiration, and what had been the motivation behind this decision? Irada, mic is yours.
Thanks for giving me this chance to be with you in this webinar. I am Irada Al Aqqad. I am 19 years old. I am a journalist and I study English and I work as a journalist and a voiceover. I am a Palestinian activist at the same time. I know that you see that I'm 19, but I have the life in Gaza makes you like older than your age. So always I'm looking for I'm so ambitious. So always I'm looking for justice and something like this because we suffer a lot in Gaza. So I'm a Palestinian activist, as I've mentioned. I work as a journalist. I study English. I have lots of things I do it, and I have many activities talking about Gaza and the situation here in Gaza. thanks for being here with you, and thanks for giving me this chance.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Irada. And definitely a lot of young people, young Pakistanis who will be watching this webinar will be interested to ask a lot of questions to you. So get ready. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the viewer and audience who are watching this live webinar with the platform of ACT Global from Youth Impact. Youth Impact, as I mentioned, that it's a youth development organization which focuses on character-based leadership development in Pakistan and across the globe. So those who want to watch this live streaming, this is broadcasted at Facebook of Youth Impact, which is Youth Impact Society. You can post your comments and questions over there to Ahmed and Irada so that we can ask what is your concern or what is your query. So moving forward, Ahmed, maybe I can start with you.
Yes.
So, you mentioned that you came all the way from Turkey to Tel Aviv to study defense and conflict studies. Is that right?
Security and diplomacy. Yes.
Yeah, sorry, security and diplomacy. So, what does what is your motivation? What is your basic purpose to come to Tel Aviv?
Yes. Before this program, like we talk about, like I'm from Konya in Turkey, which is
Right.
one of the most conservative city in Turkey, which is known for like the Sufism and everything, and that's why we've been always like we've been always known the Palestinian issue, the Palestinian conflict. It was our like a cause. I've been grew up in this story and everything. That's why I've been always like, especially like when I was in the my first degree in Marmara University, I was studying political science and international relations. I've been into this like Middle Eastern studies and everything, and then more closely, I've been attracted to the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, and that's why I studied Hebrew first, just to know the other side of the story. Because all respect to the what happened in the history, but we've been always hearing the one side of the story. So I was always thinking about like, okay, how an Israeli think about this problem, how he or she conceive the situation in their part. So I started like studying Hebrew. I went to Israel, like Tel Aviv, and like on the West Jerusalem, so many times to get to learn Hebrew, and this time I got the chance to study my an MA master's degree in Tel Aviv University, and also work in an Israeli think tank institution in Tel Aviv. So
Right.
I just like to to get to know the Israeli part, the Jewish part, like how they think, how they how do you say, like conceptualize their understanding in this problem. So whether you like it or not, this problem has two sides, and you have to know the other side as well.
Yeah, interesting. What I can sense from your conversation that you are someone who is on a journey to explore empathy. Empathy is seeing things from the other's perspective, and this is amazing that you made this effort to learn Hebrew, and you came to the center of that conflict region to understand what is that. And I'm sure your future life will bring more peace, more harmony, and more solution to the problem. And that's what we expect from the young people. Right. So, Irada, what does it look like to be an activist in Palestine? Like, you live in Gaza, so you said that you are a youth activist, a social activist. You are also involved into journalism, and you do some media work as well. Tell us more about that. What kind of activism you do.
You know that here in Gaza that we suffer a lot from many things. So as a person looking for his right, always you will be in that position that you would make some activities in order to prove to the world what you are suffering from, and to make such you will be satisfied about yourself that you are suffering a lot, but in the same time you want to be you want to do something good for you and for your society, especially like. So it's something like I'm passionate of these things. I feel like I have this like hobbies to do this. So I'm so happy when I'm doing such activities. I'm Palestinian activist, always on Twitter, posting what the Israeli occupation do in Gaza and in Palestine in general. So it's very it makes me satisfied in the same time. I'm very satisfied in this. I feel that I'm doing something which makes me comfortable, relaxed, and in all cases, I'm struggling and I'm doing things to make until like participate to make my country Palestine free.
Wow. Wonderful, wonderful. I mean, this is impressive because we people living in Pakistan, we think that you guys cannot go out, you guys cannot do anything. The only thing we see on the screens that the young Palestinians with their stones in their hands and they're throwing those rocks to the Israeli soldiers. So we think that there is protest all the time, there is fight all the time, and the young people in Palestine or in that part of the world, they cannot do anything. And thank you very much, Irada, for showing us this amazing picture that you are just 19-year-old. You are a youth activist. You study and you do a lot of work. So lot of respect for you. So moving forward, I've got this question from one of our audience is about the basis of this conflict. So maybe I can ask Ahmed, because you are studying this subject as well, that tell our audience more about the quick history and what is the basis of this conflict. Where did it start and what is happening today?
I mean, just a brief history about the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. It's rooted from the the Zionist movement, establishing the Zionist movements and their ambitious their ambitious policies to retake their ancestors' land, their promised land, the today's Palestinian land. So it started it has just like 150 years history. But all of this conflict includes so many dimensions, has so many dimensions in it. It is not just a violence conflict that we see on the Gaza border, or we've seen in the 1948, 1967, and so on. It has so many that cultural war, and also like a language war or like a religious war happening in this conflict. So today's Palestinian Israeli conflict is actually there's a one side, the people without a land, as we call the Jewish people. They were living scattered all around the world, all since 2,000 years, I think so. So they required a land, which was historically the Palestine that they used to be living in. So they started they started immigration to today's Palestine before and after the World War One, and after the World War Two, and the British forces took the Palestine, control the Palestine, and took it from the Ottoman Empire. After that, British troops, they followed an immigration law that allowed the Jewish migrants to come to Palestine and settle down there. So after that, we've seen so many settlements. Today's settlements is not new in the Palestinian conflict. It started 150 years ago. Which is called moshavs, kibbutz. Those are the small communities. One of them are some of them are communist and socialist. Some of them are purely nationalist and capitalist which is by the Rockefeller Foundation and the others. So this conflict like started way before that and has so many dimensions.
Right.
But today, maybe we can just summarize it like there's a one nation, as we call Jewish state, who wants to reestablish the historical Israeli state is a Jewish state on the Palestine, and on the other hand, there are Palestinians who've been living in this land for nearly as long as like the Jews in the territory and never left. They've been living in this territory, but they've been forced to live. For example, like today, Gaza and other all around the world, like mostly in the camps in Lebanon and etc. I think that was
Right.
a history.
Right. There's a brief, summary of this conflict, and we might discover more about it. Irada, I have this question, and I'm concerned, or I'm worried that as Ahmed said, that a lot of people, a lot of Palestinian, they made a choice to migrate to other peaceful and safe places into the Middle East. So you are living in Gaza, and why you made this choice? Why, or you are just forced to live there?
It was like an option for me to go out and study there out in Turkey maybe, or in Australia. It was like a scholarship to study there. But the situation, I can't leave my family and go out. So I have to be here in this zone, in this region, and the struggle for and this is the situation here in Gaza is undescribable. Like, as much I will tell you, I can give you the real image, the real picture that we live in. It's so horrible. So I think that lots of youth people here in Gaza are always looking for legal or illegal ways to migrate. So as you saw, sorry, in the past, like illegal trips just to run away or escape from the horrible situation that we suffer in. In all sides here in Gaza, we suffer in the economic situation, medical situation. Like there is nothing to live. Some people here are so hungry. There are many some of the lots of graduates here in Gaza, like graduates from university with the flying colors, but unfortunately they don't find a chance to work. They don't find like proper jobs for them. I know like lots of the engineers and some of them like had PhD certificates, and they work as driver, as a seller, simple jobs for them. But like unfortunately we don't have the proper jobs for us. So it's normal that all of the youth here, if they have a chance to go out, why not? Because we need like environment to, as Palestinians are always like they have lots of hobbies, lots of abilities to prove themselves, but unfortunately like we don't have the proper environment to do what we want. So that's the problem.
That's a powerful, strong, brave girl from Gaza. She's saying that she has all the choices and all the options to go abroad in Australia and US to study, to pursue her career, and to live a very peaceful and prosperous life for herself and her family. And with oppression, economic oppression, and lack of opportunities, still she made this conscious choice to live in Gaza, to make a struggle to see a free Palestine, and that's her dream, and that's what we are listening live from Gaza right now. Ahmed, we just had a question. One of our followers, he asked that, do you think friendly and peaceful policy of Muslim countries would help solve this Palestinian issue?
It depends on the policy and who's implementing those policies. For example, today we are witnessing friendly Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates and Egypt, and sometimes like Bahrain and other Arab countries who are following a friendly policy towards the Israeli atrocities in the region. So I don't think it's working well in this regard. But I'm not saying I'm not also saying we need to follow a violent policy against the Israeli Palestinian conflict. Instead, maybe I can just suggest being I don't know. It's really hard question to ask right now, because you need to elaborate so many history, like what happened during the Oslo agreements, like Oslo Accords, and you have to take the lessons from what happened before, and so you can predict what would happen if you follow more peaceful and more passive. I'm calling it passive, not peaceful, but passive policy towards Israel. But yeah.
So, I mean, you can connect with this next question where Shakir asked that, to what extent the absence of leadership crisis has escalated this conflict. So do you think the leadership on both sides in Palestine and Israel, and in leadership across the Muslim world or across the world, has to do anything related to this conflict?
It is highly related with this conflict. When you look at the history, like how this conflict started in the first place. For example, if you read the Theodor Herzl's book about the first book about the Zionism, and which is his masterpiece, he's expecting Arabs to be friendly and welcoming to the Jews, because he wasn't expecting any conflict coming from the Jews, coming from the Arabs who are residing in the territory, in the land, in the Palestine, in these days. So it shows us like that. But what happened later was the pure politics, and without and as you might guess, like the lack of leadership on the Palestinian side or the Arab side, or in general, pretty much caused these troubles that we have to deal with right now.
Right. Interesting. Do you think?
Just to wrap it up, remember that. For example, like on the Jewish side, there was a Jewish agency before they declared that the independent state. They have the unified movement, like a Jewish movement in Palestine, in the British Mandate Palestine. But I'm talking about between 19 and 1948. Okay. They had a unified movement, but on the other side, we had Sheikh Hussein, I guess, and he was trying to lead the Palestinians in this against the Jewish agency, and try to represent the whole Palestinians in the land. But there was a huge problem between the identity, Palestinian, who are Palestinian, Arabs. Were fighting for the Palestinians. They didn't have any. They never had the experience to have their own independent state, and because of that, they were unorganized. They were suffering from the lack of leadership, and that's because they had to wait for till Arafat to show up and said okay, I'm the leadership. We founded the PLO, and we're gonna handle the problem on the behalf of Palestinians. Anyway.
Well, while we listen to Ahmed, we see the glimpse of the leadership crisis as well. But as Ahmed said, that it is such a complex issue, it's not just one dimension of the problem. I mean, there's so many dimensions. It's regional, it's economic, it's political, and most importantly, it's the hub of three great religions. And unfortunately, we see that religions come on the earth to bring peace and harmony and to guide humanity. And we see a place where the religions are seen as a point of conflict between the three ideologies, three religions. So Irada, as a young person, when you walk on the streets of Gaza, we want to have a narration of yours from your perspective, the young people in Pakistan want to see what does it look like. Do you see a lot of traffic? Do you see a lot of high-rise buildings? Do you see nice parks, children playing in there? Do you see businesses, market? So this is how a typical city looks like. So please describe us Gaza to our audience.
Okay, you know that you are talking about 2 millions or more than 2 millions people are on, like a small space. So in this, we are no, we are lovely. We love each other here in Gaza. As we suffer a lot of problems, we love each other. So we are, in the markets, we are walking, we are doing lots of things. So, but you know that. To us that we have like a normal life. We go and we work, so we are under lockdown. That we under lockdown, but that we under the siege of Gaza. But in all cases, like that I want to say something about coronavirus. All the people around the world were in the lockdown, but we are you are since 2012 we are under the siege, so we are under the lockdown for 12 or 14 years ago.
Oh
So
my
we
God.
got used to this. So it's
Oh my God. Oh my
so we
God.
got used to this. So as I
Yeah.
see
So
that,
people, yeah.
as
Interesting.
I
So people can imagine that, we just have experienced a lockdown for a couple of months, like 3, 4 months. And Irada is saying that she and her community, 2 million people are in lockdown for since 2012, almost 8 years. Uh, okay. Now, when we hear this kind of perspective, we pray that, things get better and, may Palestine get freedom. As my friend Abdurrahman, he has posted that, we pray for your health, safety, and may this conflict end soon. But my question is that, is there anything else, praying only, the people in Pakistan or young people in Pakistan or young people around the world can do to help the youth in Palestine? Is it just that we pray and that's good enough for you, or you expect something else from the young people as well?
um, I
Irada?
see that. Yes, yes, definitely. So I see that that there is something we call it propaganda, Israeli propaganda. Always they talk about that we are good, that we are giving the Palestinian their rights, but in the reality or the real life, they are completely wrong. They are completely different. The reality is completely different. That they are so bad. They doing lots of things. They committed crimes, massacres, always. But they show the world that they are good. This is the most important thing. I need just from Pakistan, from the people around the world, just to make sure from the sources that they hear the news from. So we need just to reveal what the Israeli occupation does with us as Palestinians. Always they they show the world that they are good, but in fact they are not. So the propaganda is very bad things. We need all the world to take care of from this point.
Interesting. This is a nice message that, it's very important that the communication is done with the right spirit, with the honesty, and with the truthfulness. And the real picture should be coming in front of the people. And especially in this time of social media, where we see that, young people have the voices, though we are limited with the mainstream media showing, a well-defined picture and specific agenda. But with the power of social media, a lot of young people and the youth in Pakistan definitely can support this cause to reveal the truth and to reveal the true picture. Right. So, Ahmed, coming to you,
Yes.
how do you when do you interact with the young people from Israeli youth? So, what kind of perspective you get out of this conflict? Because I myself have met a lot of Israeli during my international travels, and we see an opposite side of the story. We see that someone tells me that hey, for last 1 month our schools are closed and our kids are not able to go to school. It is such a miserable condition. So we see that the miseries are there too, and they portray the Palestinian part as the bad guys. So we need to hear the empathy perspective of yours.
Um, When we talk about like the Jewish youth or Israeli youth, unfortunately, like we don't have a like a just one picture, one frame that all the Israeli that represents all the Israelis view about this conflict or the daily life in Israel. It's Israeli society is really fragmented. Like for example, like 2 days when I was there 2 days ago, there was like a protest. So many leftist Israelis were protesting in the Tel Aviv, protesting the annexation plan of Netanyahu. They were gassed, they were beaten up by the police officers, and they are Jewish. They are Jewish too. Also, like as you know, like I think 2 months ago, I guess they shot and killed a youth, a young person who's suffering from the autism, I guess, autist boy, to like 25 years old or 23 years old. He was shot and killed without a reason, without like a plausible or in a reason. He was just shot and killed in Jerusalem, and they also protest this police violence in Tel Aviv too. I'm talking about the Jewish people who are most likely lean to leftist politics in Israel. But on the other hand, like I had so many like pro-Zionist Israelis. I met like some of them I have really great relations. Like they are good in person, but when it comes to like the politics and everything, it's really also like they have their own view. Like you cannot say that they I mean they don't think they are the evil one as normal. You have to you always have to have some righteous cause in order to support or in order to claim your or legitimize your claims. You know, that's why even the pro-Zionist youth who are coming from not most of them were not born in Israel. They came from United States just to do the 3 years military service. They're doing the Aliyah. Aliyah means coming from like if you're a Jew and if you came to Israel, you made Aliyah. Aliyah means ascending. You know, you are ascended. If you the promised land. That's why I mean the Israeli youth mostly, as I said, like fragmented. They have so many opinions about the issues. One of the respect to Irada. Just remember that he's in my class. He's in my class too. I'm taking a seminar with him, and I remember one time he said like he's French, and he said like the only solution about the Gaza is the bomb the whole in Gaza and pretty much eradicate all Gazans living in the territory. So but I cannot say that he's largely unacceptable. He's largely acceptable in the society, but you can still hear this kind of lunatic ideas and opinions about the conflict. But on the other hand, like I remember so many times, like I had really fruitful conversation with the Israelis, especially like the youngs, you know. Most of them, they don't care about the conflict. They say like, okay, we need a peaceful solution because they are also suffering from this conflict. Especially like the first month that I came to Israel, that I was in the Tel Aviv. There was they killed Israeli one of the Hamas head of Hamas commander was assassinated by the Israeli forces, and because of that, like so many rockets were launched from Gaza to Tel Aviv. Like everybody was freaked out in Tel Aviv. They shut down the universities, like everywhere. You were not allowed to go outside. I'm talking about like November or December, I think so. So they're also like sick of this, especially like young people, sick of this ongoing conflict. They don't want any tensions. But yeah, as I said, like it depends on the political view.
Sure, wonderful. Yes, Irada.
But these lands like are not. They know they want a peaceful solution, but in all cases, this land is ours. So I don't know why they want a peaceful solution, but in all cases, this land is ours. So why they need? So I think the best solution for them is to go out and give us what the things that related to us. So
Okay.
I don't. I say that.
Yeah. I mean, I say it loud and say it with confidence. So whatever you believe in, that's why we are here to hear you. That whatever you think, we need to hear that perspective. So Irada, when we see the historical perspective, the whole map of Palestine, before like 1940s, it was all Palestine, and then gradually we see that it got squeezed now into the West Bank and the Gaza only, and then rest of the whole territory has been captured by Israel. So what is the situation within Gaza? Do you also see Israeli military inside Gaza? Do they also do the patrolling or monitoring, or do they control the people or the life within Gaza as well? Or it's just on the borders that when you have to cross Gaza and have to enter into their region? So how does it look like?
Yeah, of course, it's on the borders. Everything happens in the borders. So I think inside Gaza there is nothing like everything is okay. But in the borders, every day we hear something like there's someone like there's there is arguments with the occupation here in the borders. So this is the most important thing that happens here.
So, have you yourself, Irada, ever witnessed any fight, like any shooting or any killing or any beating or any violent conflict yourself?
Of course, I see this. That in the world, like I have, I have seen, I have lived like 3 wars, like I think 3 wars. Yes, it was like full of violence scenes. Anyone in that situation, he wouldn't be able to tolerate all of these things. Like it was a horrible scenes, as I tell you. So, of course, if you are in Gaza, you will see the real things. You will see that, uh, as I have mentioned, it's undescribable picture. Really, it
Yeah.
was hurting things for us, for every Gaza, for every Gazans one, like so.
Right. That's very sad. How's the oral education? Because you said that you are studying there as well. So is it okay to go to schools and colleges and universities? Are they like fully functional? I know due to COVID, all across the world, we switched to this online learning mechanism. But in general, let's talk about pre-COVID world. So what was the situation there in terms of education for young people?
You know that Gazans are known that they love their education a lot. So, really, we love our education. We love learning. But the most problematic thing is that we don't have economic, like economic side. We don't have money a lot in order to continue. So the most important thing that the most common problem that all the youth here in Gaza suffer from is that like we don't have the economic situation is too bad, so that we can't like have the resilience in this topic. So this is the most problematic thing that we face.
Right. You're talking about economic situation, and you are saying it again and again. It's too bad. So, Ahmed, from your external perspective, so when you come to this region, how do you see the economic opportunities for young people, especially? Do you see that a lot of jobs are available? People can start their businesses. They can. There is a support network or system for them to open their markets or their businesses, or it's otherwise. So please let us know how's in terms of economic opportunities for the youth.
In Israel, right?
Yeah.
Um, the economic part is pretty much like they are not enjoying the economic situation in Israel because Israel, especially like the Tel Aviv area, and I've been to Tel Aviv, Haifa. and the Western Jerusalem, the West Jerusalem, couple like so many times. Those cities, like Israeli cities, are like usually are really expensive. So in order to pay for your bills, like and everything, you have to have a decent job, and you have to graduate from you have to have a really decent diploma in order to get a good job and good salary. But before that, like most of the Israelis are doing their military service, and after their military service, the Israeli army is paying them a really good amount of money that they can spend on whatever they want. Some of them taking it to like a journey, like traveling the world with this money. Some of them are just spending this money for their university tuition. Some of them are just buying house and also opening their own store or like shop.
Right. Yeah, Irada, I have the same question for you. What is the economic condition of youth in Palestine?
I want to tell you that every year we have many graduates from the high school, and all of them they have to go to university as usual. So in these moments, like lots of families, they can't afford the how to say the I don't know, they can't afford the money that they want to pay to universities. So in that case, I see lots of youth here in Gaza, they are not able to complete their education due to these bad circumstances that related to the economic situation. So it's the most problematic thing that we face it is that we don't the families, of course, that the family, like the parents, they don't have like a suitable job for them. How they can afford their sons or daughters, I will say that the money. So it's related to the economic situation.
And do you think they can start their own business, or they have a lot of job opportunities once they are graduated from the university? What do they do?
I said that they have they graduated with flying colors from the university, but due to this there is no projects here in Gaza, no prosperous things in Gaza here. So they go to some things I want to say that like simple jobs like seller, driver, and they have high qualifications. So that's the most I would say that is a miserable situation here in Gaza.
That's very unfortunate. Uh, you speak very good English, Irada. Where did you learn it from?
I study English at university. I'm in the second year. I'm trying to master this English because my mother tongue is Arabic. So I'm trying
Yeah.
to catch the language.
Right. Ahmed, what languages do you speak?
Alongside the Turkish and English, I know like I can speak like Fusha Arabic, also like Hebrew. Yeah.
Right. So, do you think coming to Israel to study here, which languages must? Like it's English or Arabic or Hebrew?
English. Like I know English and Arabic and Hebrew, but all the time I've been using my English.
Right. Interesting. So this is interesting. We are people from 3 different parts of the world, and we are communicating together in a language which is not our native language. So it's our second language. So this is the beauty of the global connections and the common factors. Interesting. Okay, so we are heading towards the last 15 minutes of this conversation, and I'm sure we need to hear and listen more about the situation over there. So, Irada, there is this question about the reasons why the world is turning a blind eye to the situation in Gaza. Is this the lack of strong leadership on Gazans' behalf? Like you think that, is it the reason that, you are not having a very strong, powerful leaders who are raising their voice enough, or there is some other reason that why the whole world is turning blind to the sufferings or miseries of people in Palestine?
That question, like, always, it's like we don't have like qualified presidents to the countries. Always, we are they think of their like special benefits for them. They turn blindly to what's going on. Always we have victims, we have massacres every day. But that I won't be in the political side. Like, I won't go inside this because I don't like this a lot. But of course they don't have conscience in their hearts. I don't know how everyone like looks about um his I don't know how I would say his benefits. Each one to
Right.
his own.
I mean, this is a very typical of leadership in today's world, where the political leaders are more interested into their own vested interest, and they leave the cause and the mission and the purpose and the nation behind, and they sacrifice it for their own benefit. But don't you think that with such a tough situation, and for decades Palestinians, they are suffering. So, do you think, is there any hope for Palestine to create or generate its own homegrown leadership? So, do you see any hope that there will be some leaders who are emerging out within Palestine, who are very strong, who are taking care of the nation instead of just themselves? So, is there any hope for you?
Of course, I have to have the hope. I want to see my country is free, so I have to have the hope. And I see in my future, I have to be positive and to see a beautiful Palestine as independent and free. And I hope that one day that we have a good leader caring of us, caring about everything happened to us and help us. So I have to have this hope one day.
Right, right. Yeah, definitely. That's the right way. That's the right tool. That's the right mindset. And, we are blessed with this life, and we cannot give up, no matter how tough the circumstance. And this is the message of this 19-year-old young Palestinian girl who is living in Gaza. And she is saying that she is having hope. So, why the people in other parts of the world, people in Pakistan, who are free, who have got resources, who have got everything to do, can afford to have hopelessness. Thank you very much, Irada, for this wonderful, very powerful message. Ahmed, moving this conversation to you, you know, we hear about this situation in Jerusalem, and recently it was in the news that they were shifting the capital from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, and I don't know what is the progress on ground. So also tell us that as a Muslim, are you allowed to go to Al-Aqsa Mosque and offer a prayer there, or are there any religious places which are restricted only for Muslims, or only for Jews, or only for Christians? Yeah.
Yes. First of all, for the second question, yes. I mean, I am allowed to go to Masjid Al-Aqsa. I was there like 2 weeks ago, and it's been always like open to everyone, just for the Muslims. But non-Muslims are also allowed to visit the area, the compounds, the Masjid Al-Aqsa compounds, once in a week, I guess, once, or maybe very like a limited time in a day, like 1 hour. They're allowed to see around and to see the mosque and the Al-Aqsa compound, like everything. But other than that, yeah, there are some places that you're not allowed to go in as a Muslim, not just a Muslim, but as Palestinian and also Israeli. They are not always like welcomed in every places on both sides. But
And do you think Irada can come from Gaza to offer prayer at Masjid Al-Aqsa?
No,
No.
no. Yeah, we are not allowed to go there. For example, like I went there to do Gaza border for inspections and for a class, like field trip on the Gaza border. Yes, that you're not allowed to go in. They are not allowed to come in and visit Al-Aqsa Mosque, and not just Gaza. It is the same for the other Palestinians living in the West Bank. For example, like the 2 years ago when I was in Ramallah in West Bank, there was a taxi driver. He was, I think, like 40 or 50 years old. And Ramallah, if you know the map, is like 10 kilometers away from the Jerusalem, from the Masjid Al-Aqsa. And 50 years old Palestinian, like taxi driver, who's really close, like maybe 20 minutes, 10 minutes to Masjid Al-Aqsa, never been and never seen Masjid Al-Aqsa before. But his brother, yes, his brother is allowed to go outside, allowed to go in and make some business in Israeli part. So it's really complicated. Some of them they can, some cannot. As you can see, like complicated.
Interesting. So Irada, I was asking Ahmed that can people from Gaza go to Masjid Al-Aqsa? So have you ever been to Masjid Al-Aqsa ever?
No, I haven't, but I hope.
You hope someday?
Yes, I hope, of course.
Yeah. So that's a dream, and that's the hope that someday, and we are also with you in this hope and dream. So we also expect that someday we'll also join you guys, and we'll be offering our prayer in Masjid Al-Aqsa, inshallah. Excellent. Quick, more questions about the recent happenings. We heard about this annexation plan. So Ahmed, do you have any update about this July 1st annexation plan? What is it, and what is going on there?
The annexation plan is still on the process. I mean, they said that they're gonna implement the annexation plan in the July the 1st, but because of the lack of the support, like they had the support of the United States, but they didn't get the how can we say, like, confirmation from the Trump administration to start the annexation plan. But because of that, especially like the Benny Gantz also refused to implement the plan during the pandemic crisis, because the pandemic crisis is really heavily affected the Israeli economy and the health system, and also not just like economic and social life. It's also like a psychological effect was really heavy on Israeli society. That's why they postponed the implementation of the plan but they're talking about like they might do it in the next month in August, but I highly doubt it.
Yeah, right. Irada, we are heading towards the last 7 minutes of this session. There's this very basic, cute question that as a tourist, as a Pakistani tourist, can I come to Palestine? And if some Pakistani sister wants to meet you in Palestine, can she come over there?
Yeah, of course. Like we greet everyone, everyone. But I want to tell you that you won't be able to tolerate everything here in Gaza. But if you visit Palestine, of course, there are some places, beautiful places you can visit and see how there are lots of museums, lots of things are beautiful. So it's okay. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I mean, this is such a generous and such a nice gesture. She is welcoming all of us. But Ahmed, very quickly, my question is from diplomatic perspective. Do you think a Pakistani can come to Palestine?
I think no.
Okay. Yeah, that's what just wanted to clarify, because Pakistan is one of those countries who has mentioned on its passport that this passport is valid all over the world except Israel. So that's the basic reason that I see it is a challenge. Okay, is it dangerous there, Irada, living life in Palestine? Is it dangerous?
I didn't hear you, sorry.
The life, if a tourist comes to Palestine, so do you think the tourist has some problems, or can face some issues, some conflict, some violence. Is it dangerous for a tourist to come to Palestine?
I'm so sorry for that, but it's okay. It's yeah, it's
Yeah,
dangerous for us. We are
right, right.
Muslims. We face danger every day. So I'm so sorry for that. But be in your country. Don't come to us because it's
Interesting.
really horrible.
Yeah. So there are a lot of people who are praying for you and they are showing their sentiments. And someone saying, Irada, we can't hear you, so that Irada can be a bit louder. Irada, what is the meaning of your name?
Strong determination.
Yes.
Uh, willing,
Yeah.
willing. Yes.
I
Irada.
think I think your parents knew it, that you are going to be a girl with strong determination. And inshallah, we hope and we pray that in our lifetime we see a free Palestine with the young people thriving, and cherishing the beauties of this life with the sense of freedom. So, moving towards the last few minutes, how do you see, Ahmad? How do you see the future? Very quickly, in 1 minute time. So, where this whole thing, the whole conflict, is heading towards?
I think it's going well. It's gonna be well in the future because of the young people are changing the time, like today's future. So depending on this, let's say, um, like the goodwill of the young people in the world, especially like in our ummah, is gonna change everything in a good way. I believe in so.
Okay, I like your optimism, and we hope that all the young people across the world think like that. Irada, so you also believe that things will get better?
Of course, I believe that in my heart, and I hope that from the bottom of my heart to be independent and to have the freedom one day. Of course, you know that we believe in Allah, and Allah will be with us all the time. So I hope that we will be free one day.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you very much. And is there any comment or any advice to the young people who are watching, who are listening to you? So, Ahmed, you have got 1 minute. So, anything we are missing in this conversation that you would like to tell us about Palestine, Israel, the whole situation there, something that the young people really need to know about Palestine?
My first and utmost advice for the young people in Pakistan, or all the one like everyone who watch this live program, I can maybe advise you like to be realistic on these issues, like more than being emotional, because like emotions can lead you wrong, like lead you to do mistakes about this, especially like so complicated issues like this. Other than that, sometimes we have to put our judges like prejudices and biases aside to think more clearly and find a solution in just not just this conflict or politics, like everything. We have to put our biases aside so we can see the world clearly.
Interesting. That's a very sane advice coming from a young person, and you must be a very strong and wise person to share this advice. That push your biases aside, maybe emotions at times that do not help you to reach to the right conclusion. So be more mindful and be more objective oriented. So that's what we listen from Ahmed. So let's listen to Irada. Irada, what is your message to the young people across the world?
I want to say to them like always be optimistic and have the hope in your heart, and always pray and have the faith in your heart in order to get in order to get the way that you want.
Interesting. So, yeah, be optimistic and do not lose hope. Have your faith strong, and that's how we are designed, and that's where our Creator expects us that no matter how worst situations or circumstances, because it's not Irada's own will to be born in these times. This is the divine's decision. But now, Irada and young people like her and young people across the world, when they are put into a situation by design, by your creator, that's your test, that how do you respond or how do you react to those circumstances. As our friend Ahmed said, that it's the time to be mindful, it's the time to test your own abilities and to find out a solution midway which is acceptable for everyone. So thank you very much. Is there anything you would like to say? Otherwise, it's 11 o'clock. It's beautiful watching and listening to both of you. As you can see that all our audience are sending a lot of love and prayers to you, and especially to Irada. And we hope that very soon we'll meet you in Gaza, and inshallah we'll offer prayer in Masjid Al-Aqsa as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.